Despite the national concerns in respect of the upcoming budget, I welcome the opportunity to speak today on the Department of Social Protection's efforts to reignite fiscal stability, eradicating abuse of the social welfare system and instigating job creation methods, because as we know, the only way to solve this problem is it's all about jobs, jobs, jobs. We are all acutely aware of the difficulties and financial constraints that many houses are facing, and the upcoming budget of 2012 is a constant fear individuals and communities have alike. Unquestionably, the public are fully aware of the adverse effects of the economic crisis over the last number of years, especially with the high level of unemployment, which in turn has resulted in increased immigration. Without reservation, there are extensive challenges ahead, but it is imperative that we as a government, but even more so as a people, are realistic. The government will get £42 billion from tax and PRSI this year alone. £20 billion of that is estimated to be spent by this particular department. So it goes without saying that readjustments will have to be made within the department if a stable budgetary position is to be reached. It must also be understood that there is an urgent need for the government to achieve the fiscal targets laid out under the EU IMF programme. All departments, as a result of this agreement, have had to re-examine their methodologies in order to achieve fiscal stability. The previous administration provided over the last 14 years of giveaway budgets, which have inevitably left us economically deficient, with a level of expenditure that far exceeds our income. For the past 14 years, we've had an administration that was asleep at the wheel, whereby bankers, developers and international private investors could be given free rein to bring this country to its knees in the quest of earning a quick profit. Economic stress testing was an inane practice, judging by the previous government standards. There was a complete and unmerited disregard to the services sector in general, with the primary focus being on the lucrative construction industry. Many other service sectors suffered significantly as a result, as they were abandoned in pursuit of quick financial gain. Over the past 3 years, we were subjected to the draconian initiatives of a Fianna Fáil government whose sole purpose was to protect the wealthy by imposing unnecessary cuts on the vulnerable. That is certainly not the practice of this government. Our primary aim is to protect the vulnerable and once again sustain employment, promote job creation and lay the foundation for economic recovery. I understand the level of constraint placed on the shoulders of the Minister by this previous administration, and it's absolutely unforgivable. In preparation for today's private member's business, I was struck by the extent of the difficulties faced by the Minister arising from the EU-IMF deal. It illustrates how much of a challenge she is facing from the effect of the legacy deal. Her room for manoeuvre is extremely limited. However, I welcome the stimulus measures that she has initiated over the last number of months. In particular, I am referring to the halving of employer PRSI and the National Training Fund levy. I think one of the most fundamental and affirmative initiatives of this department is its concentration on reducing social welfare costs by encouraging those currently on the live register to take up employment and self-employment. The results have proven reassuring, with the implementation of the Jobs Bridge scheme producing 2,508 opportunities with host organisations and sole traders. To date, 2,185 interns have commenced on internship under the scheme. I think, Count Corder, that is very, very much to be welcomed. This government is determined to provide the maximum amount of people with the ultimate opportunity to define and improve upon their training and skills. Jobs Bridge is a great opportunity for individuals to gain experience within niche industries that may in turn lead to full employment, and I welcome the steps taken by this government to nourish existing employment and its promotion of job creation. I would also like to commend the Minister and the Department on instigating the new anti-fraud initiative. In 2011, the total budget for social welfare is estimated at 20 million. That equates to 39% of gross government expenditure. I think that's mind-blowing. The Department of Social Protection estimates that the level of fraud and error in the system ranges between 2.5% and 4.5% of total annual expenditure, with some specific benefits being identified. However, we have to say that in this we are similar patterns occur all across the continent, so we're actually not really out of sync that much. A large degree of social welfare subsidies tend to go awry due to administrative and customer errors, more than people intentionally trying to defraud the system. I also recognise that the integrity of our national social welfare scheme depends on fairness, so that those who have been hit by hard times, those who need the most, get the most. As the net contributor of funds, the taxpayer is demanding the best possible stewardship of its contributions, so that scarce resources go to those who merit them. In that regard, I did welcome the inclusion of stronger measures to extend powers to social welfare inspectors to investigate employers, contractors and subcontractors. I am aware the Department is fully committed to recovering 100% of overpayments arising as a result of fraud or error. An example is in Australia, where they have cross-checking of data, and that information is consistent across all public bodies. However, they do have the advantage of having a national database to check records, which we don't have. In America, similar schemes and systems are in place as well. I also realise the importance of relative cost effectiveness in terms of analysing efficient counter-fraud actions, which is paramount, especially as previously stated, the 20 billion of the 43 billion earned from tax and PRSI alone. The number of anonymous reports has increased significantly in the last 9 months. However, with over 12,000 reports made to the end of September, compared to less than 9,000 made in the same period in 2010. There's also the advertising campaigns have been launched to combat fraudulent activities within the system, and there is an ever-increasing tolerance among the person in the street that they don't want to see the state being defrauded. The Department of Social Protection has recently undergone one of the most profound organisational transitions in terms of the public service, with the transfer of the Community Welfare Service into the Department. This, combined with the transfer of community and employment services activated under FOSS to the Department, is a welcome component of the programme for government, and once completed should provide a more direct and efficient mechanism in providing income maintenance and support to families. We all recognise the difficulty a person faces when they come from a disadvantaged area. However, I have to say I don't envy the heavy task the Minister has in trying to stay on course. Her task is a very onerous one. However, I cannot let it pass why she finds herself in this situation. In the so-called boom, where were the audits? Where were the checks and balances over the last 14 years that allowed this country to get so much out of sync? Where were the audits done for all the houses that were built? A huge amount of those people who are out there on the unemployed have come from the construction sector. It was a very bad administration that allowed the whole one section of the economy to just become a complete bubble and not look at the other sectors. And I understand that everybody is talking about jobs. We do understand the equation that if you get people back working, the social protection reduces. But just if I could, Count Corder, make this point. Since 2002, I did an exercise, beginning with Spectra Photo Labs in Tralee. From 2002, and I didn't go before that, we lost 50 jobs every single week. Rory Quinn deliberately tried to raise that on numerous occasions in this House during the term of the last administration, but he was completely ignored.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you,
Your time is up.
Councillor.
Just for the purposes